This is the story of some of our relationship told from a unique perspective. Part 1, the briefing. I remember it like it was yesterday. I and the rest of my battalion were awoken by a sudden blazing alarm, an alarm that meant war. Just to give you a little context, until that day we had lost every battle we'd ever fought. I was okay with that though. I think the men were too. Some battles aren't worth fighting. Anywho, the alarm, it was deafening. A cry that by this point, the 1st Battalion of the Romance Division had become very wary of. There was an air of indifference. Nevertheless, we trudged sleepy-eyed through. I can't seem to describe it. Human language and thought aren't quite developed enough to explain the layout of a man's soul. I'll just say this. We soon found ourselves in what I can best describe as a briefing room. Our briefings are probably different than what you're used to. Maybe in a movie, you've seen a table surrounded by high-ranking officers discussing details of the next mission. We have none of that. For each briefing, we are presented with a display through which we can see and hear the world our host, Daniel, does. Though we are Daniel's subjects, we decide if what is on the display is worth fighting for. Our target, usually a pretty girl with a charming personality, is depicted. Much debate takes place. Some of us are persuaded by the beauty and charm, while the wiser of us argue to wait and observe the target's heart. I proudly consider myself among the wiser. In the end, however, the decision to pursue is determined by majority vote. It had been nearly 2 years since our last briefing, probably because of some poor decisions on our part. Wrong decisions can cause great suffering, hence the indifference we all felt. Yet, unbeknownst to us, what was waiting for us on the display that day was much, much different. What we saw that day changes forever. Part 2, the beauty. Gosh, okay. An angel, a flower, a fair beauty the likes of which we had never seen. She was dancing on light. I don't think I can read this. Her name was Jaynie. God had indeed been gracious for creating such a breathtaking creature. We gazed as she stared across the water underneath a quiet, starry sky. Jaynie had invited Daniel to ice cream earlier that day, which was the original cause of the aforementioned alarm. Following this, they spent the time driving aimlessly, eventually winding up at Mac Point Beach. I'm embarrassed to admit that most of the Romance Division wasn't very attentive to the events preceding their arrival at the beach. Like I said, we were struggling with enthusiasm. We had seen her physical beauty, which was impressive to say the least, but we had already learned that this wasn't sufficient to warrant pursuit. We witnessed her personality. That was enough to catch the attention of some of us. But as she peered into the night, the scales were tipped. This is the first time we saw the beauty in her heart. In this heart was kindness, there was joy, there was great pain, triumph, and unrealized potential. This woman was a picture of holiness, and she didn't even know it. I can't recall being so moved by another human's existence. It was sheer bliss. For the first time in a Romance Division briefing, a unanimous decision was reached. And thus we prepared for battle. Part 3, the battle. The entire military was mobilized. His heart could not be stopped. Jaynie was too precious a prize to refuse fighting to the death for, and so we fought. Several more long, grueling months of pursuit took place. Daniel learned more about Jaynie's soul every day. The more he learned, the more he loved. We continually pestered her, removing any possibility of being ignored. Failure occurred many times, affections were rebuffed, but nothing could stop us. Her walls were broken down day by day. And then, to our disbelief, the unthinkable happened. The armor around Jaynie's heart cracked, and we won. Jaynie had finally fallen into Daniel's arms. Patience did win the battle. Volumes could be written on a story that followed. It is the tale of trust, shaken and rebuilt in the most beautiful way. A tale of two souls learning to dance. This love would endure. This love would venture beyond time and space, reaching depths of spirituality that neither Daniel nor Jaynie knew were possible. Part 5 begins. And so we find ourselves in the present. Moments ago, I was called back to the briefing room. In my display, the most breathtaking expedition of beauty my eyes have ever seen, ears heard, or heart ever felt. I find peace knowing that Daniel and Jaynie are keepers of one another's hearts, for this is the glory of the Creator. You may be saying to yourself, it must be comforting to have finished the battle, to have won Jaynie's heart. My dear friends, we members of the 1st Battalion of the Romance Division never stop fighting. The battle will never end. We will fight every day to win the heart of this woman. We will sacrifice ourselves for her. We will die for her. That is our greatest joy. The beauty kept within this vessel is of God, and it has the power to change lives. We consider it a great honor to be caretakers, guardians, and warriors of that beauty. In the presence of the Creator, may the love between these souls shine forth into eternity. Jaynie, I will never stop fighting for your love. The battle will never end. It will take place every day. I'll fight every day to win your heart, sacrifice myself for you, die for you. That is my greatest joy. The beauty within you is from God, and you have the power to change lives. And I consider it a great honor to be your caretaker, guardian, and warrior. In the presence of our Creator, may the love between us shine forth into eternity.